single target lockdown, but the
Boom.
Poppy has made it through for NIP.
There it is, and we're gonna get a Kai'Sa versus Xayah for this game too. But once again, I'm not surprised that BLG locking in this Kai'Sa nice and early for Elk, a champion that is very unique to the LPL, although we have static shifts still being that first item rush for a lot of these players. But Jackie Love showed us that AD Kai'Sa is still very viable. I feel like if BLG in the mid lane, if they just play for setup, this Kai'Sa is more than happy to pop off once again.
Absolutely. And Killer Instinct fits Elk well, I feel like, as the ultimate for Kai'Sa. As we are looking at the second phase, let's see what we're going to be whittling down. We still have our top lane matchups that will be super key in the second phase, but BLG actually ban away the Alistar against Zhuo.
Yeah, it does seem like NIP, they are looking for a Xayah Rakan towards that bottom lane. If Rakan gets taken away here, Zhuo realistically can either play the Tahm Kench or the Braum, but we haven't seen much Tahm Kench coming into the summer split because just the champion gets locked down so easily, especially if you look at BLG's composition so far. They have a lot of gap closing, although Photic does have a bit of self-peel, so that will work into his kind of situation as well. But once again, top lane is going to be saved for counter for Bin, and with how game one went, and with how many times the jungler made a visit, I'm assuming he is more than happy to lock in something like that
we get
as
the
the
classic
ultimate counter.
Let's go! Man, I fell in love with Yagao's Talia last year, and especially, like, I think last split when she was still in the meta as well. But we will see what the big answer is going to be in the rest of the matchups for NIP, because you do need something for Zhuo that you're going to have a lot of strength against this row. We saw On literally run the table on them last game because of that and the engage potential that he had. The Nautilus does shore that up. You also get single target lockdown there, and the Cassante back again for Invincible.
I'm so lucky to be born in a timeline where I get to witness Yagao's Talia once again for this Game 2 draft. And Gwen gets locked in as the final counter pick into this Cassante. No one's surprised. Bin is mad and he's out for revenge in this matchup. But BLG, honestly, just picking comfort and looking to go for lane domination is the way to go.
So much setup potential out of mid lane as well now with this Talia pick, but also the lockdown potential that BLG have. Just so much CC and so many threats that you're gonna have to deal with later on. But I do want to look over to NIP. Again, they are backs against the wall here. They want to be the underdog to NIP in their home arena. They are against the wall here in this series. They need every win they can get to finish the season strong to ensure a top 10 finish. We'll see what happens here as NIP fighting against a beast of a team in BLG, the Gyos, singing true.
And we need to remind the audience, if BLG secure this win up against NIP, they also secure themselves a Guardian Angel for the summer playoffs. So this is going to be an important series to take up against NIP. And they're only one game away from securing that position. But we see On going for some invasion in this bottom side. No ward planted down just quite yet, but just as on Rel, I mean, he's just not scared of anyone. Zhuo gets baited by this as well, man.
Every time, since like midway through last game, On could just walk at anybody and they're scared instantly. I don't know if there's a horse fear over on NIP. Are you scared of horses, Kitty?
Well,
You think NIP is scared of horses?
I'm pretty scared of horses because I've seen like these stories of people just getting kicked and they go flying by horses, and I never want to stay around a horse. But I'm born in the year of the horse, so they technically my lucky
piece of
animal.
advice. Stay away from the back legs. There you go. That'll save a lot of that you know, horse kicking that's gonna be happening. It's kind of funny to see a little bit of the kind of trader come through for me, because like there's a couple rules that you can't break when you're working with horses.
The way I stay away from horses is just perma-banning Rel in solo queue, because this champion is so overtuned.
It's so good.
The chain CC, you don't even need to land the dash anymore. That's kind of what made Rel so annoying when she got first released. You had to land the W because that was kind of the only way of initiating. The Q was only a shield breaker, but this time around Riot was like, nah, we're gonna put an extra stun on Rel's Q and just give her the most disgusting chain CC when it comes to the early game. So even if just just sniffing the side of Rel, you're going to be potentially stunned for 10 billion years.
10 billion years, and that's a long time, especially in early games, as the CC will be an important factor for BLG, at least moving forward, and the catch-out tools against NIP. Luckily, Photic is on the Xayah this time. A lot of safety in that, and maybe a little bit of that hyper carry focus. Maybe more so than I guess the Ashe would be. Invincible is getting pressed pretty heavily, though, by Bin in this top side, as we will continue to see Bin actually take a bit of advantage in CS, but also just pressure.
I don't want to worry anyone for the NIP side, but Bin currently has a 100% win rate on the Gwen so far in the summer split. So this is a matchup that Bin is more than happy to play. And something that did catch my eye for the top lane meta is back in the day we used to have a lot of Ghost users, considering the fact that Cassante and both Gwen were very happy with how they were utilizing this Ghost ability to close out gaps. But Bin was the first one to start taking Flash on Gwen because of the all-out matchup where often you find yourself over a wall, but Bin took the Flash and just flashed over the wall and he said bye.
It's the little things that end up going the longest distance here, and Bin himself, a big trendsetter, but also just a huge top lane matchup anytime you go against him. We will have this 2v2 down here. And Bin's journey has been really, really interesting, right? I think finding so much success on RNG and then immediately coming to BLG and fighting through some of the struggling times that this organization has had until they now have this incredible team they've built through the ground, it feels like, has been really fun to watch. Ooh, speaking of fun to watch, though, Photic, we said he was safe, but I don't think you're safe against this. You've got to go the wrong way, as Elk's just getting one-on-one by Zhuo, and the kill should go over. The Blade Caller's pretty huge, and Photic buys so much time. It's On who gets the kill, and On who saves Elk's life, as they should move forward. Now he's got the lethal tempo online, but Zhuo with that shield is going to be too tanky. Meanwhile, we had Shun and Shadow going at it. There ends up being a little bit of 2v2 action instead.
I think Shadow took Shun's red buff. I'm not too sure. Flash from On. Can he kill off Zhuo here?
Do they have a horse spear? I guess we're about to find out. On takes way too much damage. He gets 2 kills out of the lane. Zhuo gets the kill back. My goodness.
I mean, what could have gone wrong pretty much all went wrong for the side of NIP, with a flash for flash trade starting off that 2v2, but Zhuo missed his crucial hook onto Elk and onto the wall where he had to unfortunately walk back. We get a replay of this, but it was On once again going for the initial engage onto Photic, where it was the flash also bouncing him back into the palms of Elk, and the hook from Zhuo misses and it doesn't really connect. But honestly, I saw an angle where Photic outplays this. If they just gave another 2 seconds for Zhuo to finish off Elk, but with the triumph going into Kai'Sa's pockets as well, she healed a little bit, and it was just really well played by On.
Really, really well played by On, but also Elk to capitalize on that. And the movement they had to step up into Photic, it pretty much set them on the back foot immediately. But man, if you weren't scared of the Rel early, well, now 2 kills. Maybe that extra gold on a Rel makes it even scarier, as On will be getting out of lane and looking to connect with Shun.
I really like what On did there. He dashed over the Dragon Pit, and then he put that pink ward down to spot out where Shadow could potentially be, and then used the Hex Slash to get back over the wall, just securing that early vision control for the bottom side, and starting up this Dragon where Shadow, he can look to fight this.
He's got move from Angel in the mid lane. We do have level 6s available, as Yagao could block off a major portion of this. He's going to cast that Weaver's Wall. Shadow's already in the thick of things here. And you got to get out with that flash, but it's not enough. Maybe you get the turnaround onto On, as Ben is on his way. On goes down to Photic. You get the pull in, but Yagao goes out as well. And NIP are actually fighting him. The fisticuffs have been drawn, but Ben, he snips one back. We'll see the Dragon now reset, but retargeted by NIP, as Ben is just left out. And this is NIP roaring back to life after game number 1.
And the value that Shadow got out of this Poppy pick in that fight in particular just destroyed any chances of On and Ben getting out. Unfortunately, Invincible didn't have that TP available, but that is such a great skirmish coming out of the NIP roster. Reset after reset for Angel and this Ahri as well. I mean, this is what you really need for this NIP roster.
It is indeed. It's exactly the fight you were looking for, and some of that early skirmishing aggression that we know and love from them. On is baiting Invincible in here as the rest of his team is on his way, but I think Invincible gets the hint. Will back away as well. We'll get a replay of that one, see how it all kicked off.
Yeah, we talked about how Shadow on this poppy pick so annoying to deal with for the side of BLG. Shun had to really utilize that Q and wait out with the space, but On just gets completely kited by the NIP roster and reset after reset. Photic also getting really nice E onto Yagao as well. And this was a 4v5. Bin had to burn the flash from mid lane and walk here, but look at this final Shadow's W on the poppy. Just stops Bin's escape over the wall, and they secure themselves this first dragon. This is exactly why NIP thrives so much off this pick.
Yeah, and we see why BLG banned it in game number 1 as well. So a lot of that strength being portrayed, at least for NIP. The Rift Herald is started up, so they get even more early game advantage. And this is night and day. They literally had zero control, except for Dragons last game. And they have found a comp that works for them from the blue side. Shadow will get that Rift Herald now. BLG looking to answer with a little bit of push in the mid lane, and Shun invading the bottom side jungle of Shadow.
NIP snowballing this lead relatively well, picking up both major objectives in this early game. But you have to consider the fact that they have to also close this game out relatively early because Bin on this Gwen, he's a little bit caught out here.
He is. He has the needlework, though. I think NIP, with that Keeper's Verdict, are going to be able to get out of this one. But On goes for a preemptive engage while he just left Yagao there. Yagao just gets burned out by Photic. It is a bit of a trade back and forth, Yagao for Shadow. And see if these plates actually make it a little bit more of a dividend for NIP.
I like how Bin straight up just said, call an ambulance, but not for me, because Shadow's the one that died on the tower. But yeah, this Gwen cannot be fed for the side of NIP because they never have an answer in the side lane, especially considering the fact that the Cassante already naturally loses to this champion. Angel can't even walk up against the Gwen without burning that Spirit Dash, so we'll have to wait and see because Gwen is now 2-1, but it should be relatively fine. NIP still have a lot of great setup considering the fact that they have the Nautilus and Ahri in hand. But once again, Shadow, he needs to be the one proactive on the map, and he needs to be the one hovering the Xayah.
See if they can find the right hover, but especially the right timing. I think when we talked earlier about that big advantage that bot lane for BLG got, it has unlocked onto the map. We've seen him constantly hovering these solo lanes, constantly hovering Shun. We'll see NIP hovering this top lane, try to get these Rift Herald charge and a first brick for themselves, but On is here to defend.
And the difference is we have Kai'Sa just solo farming towards that bottom side while the top plates get split between 3 people. The hook lands.
A little bit of an overextension there, but they can't kill the tower. Zhuo,
oh my, Jordan died.
They literally couldn't kill the tower because they turned to have minions. Oh no. Oh, goodness gracious. As Zhuo gets out with his life. BLG see that, and they'll keep putting the pressure down. Shun is down bot side. Yagao on his way. Weaver's Wall at the toe, and the guns are ready and pointed at Invincible. Here they go as the first shots ring out. Will he be invincible or will he not? It looks like he's not. All Out comes through. He gets one back. He gets one back. Oh! He's looking for Elk, but Elk gets the killer instinct onto the other side. That's a big trade back, though, for Invincible.
I saw a world where Angel flash charms and goes for Elk under that tower as well, but that is a great outplay coming out of Invincible, but Elk is now level 8 on this Kai'Sa, being left alone in the isolated matchup up against Cassante, where he just got to free farm while Bin on this Gwen picks up 2 more plates into his pocket. So overall, I still feel like BLG come out on top because you have to consider the fact that the first 3 tower platings in the top side got split.
Ooh, Photic gets caught there and everything used on him. That's the Feather Storm, but I don't know if it's enough. The burn's not going to be enough that time as well. Yagao will flash out of Zhuo's engage, and push remains for NIP, but we got Dragon in 15 seconds.
That's Feather Storm gone from Photic as well, but we get a replay of this. I feel like the all-out onto Shun just locking this Vi down was the way to go, but it really shouldn't have been Shun tanking the tower. It could have potentially been Yagao or Elk, one of the ranged people that could have just dipped out of the tower aggro. But at the end, 1-for-1 trade, not too bad. However, Elk didn't need to burn any of his summoners while also picking up, I believe, multiple waves and a tower plating into his pockets.
And now we look back at live as Dragon is alive, and we see all of NIP really headed down this way. Photic going to be a little bit late here, is pushing out that bottom side. Don't think BLG are necessarily in a position to contest, but if odds in the area, maybe so. As it should just be given over. This will be second Dragon to NIP.
Relatively decent start for the NIP roster. We have Angel and Shadow linking up really well in the early game and just consistently finding vision control around these major objectives, where Shun and Yagao really struggling to get that first move from the mid lane. And this Talia down 20 CS as well, so we really need these huge side lane plays coming out of the mid lane of BLG. But NIP, they're here first.
It's a little bit of a trap, as they actually find Shadow in the end, and Shadow's the one that has to back away, and On goes right back in for the engage here. There's a little bit of a stutter step there from Shadow. Will be able to deny more forward advance from BLG.
Yagao is bullying out Angel quite a lot from that first rotation towards the bottom side though, but On has every single summoner, and he is already planting down great vision towards the bottom side. So it is going to be about who pulls the trigger first. I feel like it is going to be relatively hard unless Zhuo just instantly ults onto Elk. But as long as Gwen gets the free farm in the side lane, NIP, they're on a ticking time bomb for this game too.
They are indeed, and we do have first items coming up for everyone across the board here very shortly, at least. Maybe Invincible lagging behind a tiny bit. But that does mean we want to look back up towards this top side of the map, because the redeploys are coming through, and we have a Rift Herald in about 20 seconds or so.
They also have to really respect how Bin is going to enter into this upcoming fight for the Rift Herald. Photic, you need to use this Featherstorm really smart, because Bin is most definitely going to be looking for that flank angle onto the Xayah. We'll have to wait and see, because Shadow, he has two important roles to play out. I mean, he has to play both peel and engage pretty much, unless Angel is going to be able to find a really nice charm onto either carries. Have to wait and see.
See this Rift Herald though started up by NIP, and again, a little bit like game one, where NIP actually got the first two dragons of the game for themselves. But the Rift Herald, a different story. We'll see if Shun can get the engage here, or maybe find the steal. No, it's immediately backing out, as the TP had been pulled by Angel. Bin is on his way, but flanked by Invincible. The Rift Herald does go down to NIP, and that's second one in a row.
Yeah, and you don't really see BLG's consistency coming out of game one. I mean, it is because BLG, they were lacking their mid laner for that 5v5, and then Shadow having a really nice keep as Photic as well, pushing On out of the team fight. So that's one of their main engages gone. And Shun also needing to use the flash to avoid the poppy engage. But Yagao, is he going to look for a flank here?
He could. He's got the Weaver's Wall. He's pulling the trigger, and so are BLG. They got the TP, though, back in, and Invincible finally joins the fight as On is just left as a sacrificial lamb, or maybe sacrificial rail horse at this point. The Rift Herald does get locked down in mid lane. Although, speaking of lockdown, Invincible's in some trouble. The charge should come through here, and they're going to try to push this outer tower down.
Yeah, this role is just getting played with by Angel on this Ahri, consistently dashing out of the zone.
Oh, they're going to TP. NIP, I don't think you want this one, as there's the cease and desist, and you may not move, but neither can Shun, as it's actually a little bit of a fight back. Angel's getting resets here, and Elk doesn't really have the damage. Bin wants to step up. Angel is the one stepping up, but he gets stepped down into the dirt by Yagao, and Elk is now the one that you have to watch out for. Photic able to fight them off, but Yagao is trying to catch Photic out. It's a nice little fight back. It ends in heavy trades and heavy losses on both sides.
How does BLG win a 4v5 up against NIP while we only have just the front line of BLG falling down while the carries are eating good?
Hey, they're eating really good. Maybe it's a little bit of barbecue. Maybe it's just a little bit of some good food, whatever your comfort food's gonna be, because man, it is incredible to watch them fight. And I cannot stop giving it up to NIP, because they are actually fighting BLG tooth and nail here, but the overextension, the stay, it's difficult.
It's crazy to think that Bins were an angle where they re-engage onto the NIP roster. Most teams would just have the Gwen commit to the tier 1 tower in the top lane and trade 1-for-1 tower, but no, they get so much gold back into the carries of Elk and Yagao on this Tilly, and they were just playing front to back really well and playing it really slow, allowing Yagao to get that poke down, and Elk flashing out of the Angel combo as well. I mean, they're just so good at team fighting, and no other team could have saw that angle.
And that is the angles that you see when you've got that killer instinct. Speaking of, we're going right back to probably some more kill tallies as Ben does take a side lane turret. The dragon is up, and that means NIP do not want to let go of a little bit of the control they've already gotten. Shun, he was going for a cease and desist there. He really wanted to get that engage off.
Yeah, we do have Elk answering in the mid wave though, so they don't have their ADC in this fight just quite yet. No flashes available for the side of BLG's carries either, so it's going to be a bit scary walking into here. They have to look for a pick.
If that pick does come up. Oh, got a little bit of engage from On. Oh, he gets Photic right out of there, but Invincible's already gone. I don't even know how that happened. Usually it goes the other way around. But in the end, it is BLG with on an incredible flank from that Keeper's Verdict. Just gets burned down by Angel. It is another trade back, though. 2 members down for NIP, meaning this dragon is all BLG's. And they were contesting a gold lead this entire time. Now BLG have the advantage. See if NIP can even that one a little bit, though. Shadow trying to find Elk, who's all by himself. But he is the Kaisa, and he's got a lot of fight back. He doesn't have the killer instinct, so that means BLG back away.
But who is going to deal with Pin on this Gwen in the side lane now? I'm not too sure, especially with the Dragon stack and getting denied away from NIP now. Invincible just got straight up one-shot in that team fight.
Oh, Yagao trying to catch Angel out here. The cease and desist into all of the CC. And that's Shun who picks up the kill. So a big catch out on the back end of those plays that already went BLG's way.
And another pick into BLG's pockets. On is just going to utilize this time framing and plant down vision for this Baron. Invincible, not even the Shadow is a little bit caught out, but with the Baron spawning in 20 seconds, Angel does have that TP available, so they shouldn't be able to force this just quite yet. But with Bin also pressuring the side lane, I mean, NIP, they need to just find a pick here.
Try to find something. Maybe it's on to On. But it doesn't look much like it. They are going to be grouping. They do see a bunch of this vision already put down by BLG. So at least get a little bit of that control back around the Baron pit. But this is where BLG danced them to their deaths in game number 1. We'll see if they can do so yet again from the red side. We are getting very close to full second item completions for a majority of members for BLG. And circling the edge here for NIP.
Yep, and you look at Bin's items already sitting on the Nash's Tooth, second item picked up by this Gwen, but NIP, this is where their composition kind of starts falling off because you need to consider the fact that Shadow, he has to use that W to act as both peel and engage for the side of NIP, so either Zhuo has to make the initial engage or Angel has to land the charm. You can't be fully dependent on Shadow on this Poppy. We'll have to wait and see because Baron's up and available and BLG, they want to look for an angle to stop this.
It's pretty much like NIP have said to Photic and Angel, that's about all the food you're going to get. Fly, little birds. See what can you do? As that is pretty much the saving grace right now. Can Angel, can Photic pick apart one of these team fights that will be so hard to approach if you are NIP?
Bin is just going to consistently pressuring the side lane. He needs at least 2 people on him if they want to shut down this Gwen. Maybe even 3. I don't think if Shadow goes, they have the damage to kill off the Gwen, who's level 14 now. And it's pretty hard. Photic being on the Xayah, he really depends on BLG playing into him, Shun queuing in and ulting onto his head. But NIP, I mean, all they can do is trade vision for vision. But eventually, Bin on this Gwen, he's just going to work towards that tier 2.
And he will take it oh so fast as well, as BLG moved right back out to replace the vision that NIP just so heinously tore up. But it is NIP struggling to find a real big answer here at the in-between of game number 2. And I think when you look back at a lot of the stake setting that we did for this, BLG, this was a must-win game for them, not only if they want to stay in that reach of JDG right ahead of them, but specifically to get that Guardian Angel, to get that late push, the buy, everything you could be included by finishing top 2, and they want to make that so here against NIP, and the underdogs aren't looking like an underdog just yet.
Yeah, considering the scoreline 10 and 11, but no vision whatsoever on the Baron, so NIP, they are so scared with the Kraken Slayer available for Elk as well. They can shred the Baron if they wanted to, especially with the amount of vision that they also set up in the topside vision to allow Bin to look for a flank angle onto Photic and Angel is incredibly scary. Zhuo.
They just go into Zhuo. Okay, well, Bin was on the flank. That's what pulled this all off, and you think you're tanky, but you're not. And a nice knockback from Yagao, or as you said earlier, the Yagoat of the Taliyah is popping off here with a lot of the setup around mid lane, and BLG, they should be able to take this Baron, if not force the hand of NIP.
And the reason why BLG wasn't able to find an angle like that for the past few minutes is because Shadow has been consistently hovering the carries, but Zhuo oversteps in the mid lane and they find the pick they needed.
They're burning it so bad, but Yagao's coming around the angle. Invincible already about half health. He hasn't even used the all out yet. There's the engage though. They actually find Yagao. Yagao gets picked as BLG are forcing the Baron here. Angels around the side. Can it be enough? They are just taking the fight now. The Baron goes their way, and Ben has already found one. And no, that's a big blade caller set up, but it was the Featherstorm that got the kill. And no, Angel just steps up into his death. I'm surprised. And now Elk, he's looking for it, but Zhuo buys a little bit of time. He's distracting them. He's taunting them as Photic just wants to make it away. Can he pick up on before he goes down? The flash, the stun, the CC, and Elk finishes him off.
The style from this support of BLG is just through the roof. He was 1 HP. Photic had the feather callback as well, but he just uses the stopwatch and finishes off the final kill for NIP.
And I love through all that, the end there, Shadow was laughing, smiling still. I know it's difficult, but to see a little bit of that chipper mood for Shadow is always still good. But man, this fight was a little bit heartbreaking.
I mean, there's a reason why a lot of BLG fans say that On is the most handsome support in the LPL. That play at the Dragon Pit just spoke confidence out of this guy. And with the age of only
this whole series
19,
at this point,
he is just doing so well on this rel, shutting down both Angel and Photic with that Q return and just stunning them. I mean, you can't ask for a better rel performance coming out of On. And finally, the Baron gets secured by BLG, and they're just going to start working towards that 4-1 composition.
Again, he was my subtle MVP in game number 1, and here in game 2, the rel's looking just as damn good. As Shun gets the kill already on Zhuo. This does mean that Keeper's Verdict had come through, so it's a bit of a split fight here, but BLG had already found a pick coming out of the replay, and you see that damage done. My goodness, Giga Bin.
This is why we save counter for Bin. This is why he has a 100% win rate on the Gwen. As BLG, they're going to just take over this map. No one can respond to this level 16 Gwen. NIP, they just need to force a 4v4 in the mid lane before Bin makes that first rotation with his first move.
See more towers fall as Yagao try to split Photic off there. Doesn't get the angle necessarily needed, but it will be this tier 2 tower under siege. Angel comes in over the side though, trying to get something back for NIP. That crown actually blocked so much damage there, and the tower still falls in the end while Bin is untouched, taking a bot lane tower. NIP have to answer.
And that's one of their main engages gone. No Spirit Rush available for Angel. And no one responding in the side lane either. BLG, they're going to work towards that tier 2 tower in the top side and utilize this Baron to its absolute full potential. But this is the problem with this draft. Cassante up against Gwen. If you let the Gwen free scale in the early game where you have no jungle attention whatsoever, this is the result. And I think NIP, they're running out of options because Photic on this Xayah, he needs BLG to be the ones engaging first. So it's a bit of a sticky situation.
Zhuo was the one that started that initiation, but the ones to finish it were BLG.
And there you go, Shun, as he is now out of the fight, but once again, you see NIP extremely desperate, trying to get anything done on the map, but Elk having that cleanse available, Yagao having the Shattered Crown. I mean, it is incredibly hard to one-shot someone, considering the fact that Angel's build doesn't have the highest damage, so it has to be through Photic's feathers, it has to be through the Xayah.
And it's crazy to me to think, like, look, not long ago, It was NIP who had the lead, but it was also just a small lead for BLG. It's almost 10,000 gold now, Kitty. It has exploded. And I don't know how much they can actually do with it right now because it is so early still. I mean, you have another minute and 40 seconds for a dragon, but that's really the next objective you're looking at.
And lucky for NIP, it is only going to be soul point for the side of BLG. They're just trying to kind of cut the bleeding as much as possible before that Elder Dragon point, or even soul. I don't even know if it's worth contesting.
I don't think it's even going to soul.
It's not going to soul. All right, well, with this game at 27 minutes, we do have 3 items available for Photic. But
Shun coming over the side there. A little scary, but they don't have the clear speed, at least to counteract what NIP have. Actually see them be able to defend this tower. It's literally a standoff. Shadow goes ahead with the engage, does get the combo, but Ben, he was waiting behind the whole time. He's looking for the big needle works, and here comes Yagao. That's a nice little bit of tempo, though, for NIP, but is it going to be enough? Invincible is blocking up a storm, but Shadow's getting oh so low. And BLG, they're just going under tower. They've overextended. As Ben has no gold, and he's going to start tanking up here as he goes with another kill. He's under turret. He don't even care. As BLG take the mid tower, they're looking at the inhib, but they need to get out of dodge as objectives are spawning soon, and they need to get the resets.
This Gwen is just out of control. Photic can't even root this guy because he goes immune. And now BLG resetting for this 3rd Dragon Soul point. Elk is on a ward though. But he fails to reset. But it doesn't really matter because Bin still has that TP available. And look at him. He's TPing towards the bottom side.
No way. He really wants Photic. He's like, I'm coming for you, man. Or he just turns on whoever fights him, as Zhuo is the one that gets the scissors. And his head is gone, but so is Shadow's. A second! And Ben, who let this man run around with scissors? I've always heard you're not supposed to do that! As he's almost going down here, Invincible trying to block him up, but the cease and desist is going to go golden out of Angel. It's still another one, and Invincible will also get the scissors!
You called him, Mazel. The game is not going to go to soul point as Bin, he refuses the game to go on any longer and instantly TPs and finishes this game off at 30. Photic can't clear the way fast enough.
I don't know if they can do it. Oh my goodness. They're trying to end it. They know what's inside. They're trying to put the components together. You got to remember how much gold you need in your pockets to buy a Guardian Angel, because Bilibili Gaming, they're going to solidify themselves here unless Shadow has something to say about it. But his death rings true in a top 2 finish in the eyes of BLG and a Guardian Angel in the summer playoffs.
11-2. The scoreline of Bin on this Gwen. Just never give this guy this champion. 100% win.